Hello and welcome to Front Row Racing. It's Sunday evening, which means it's time for the Front Row Racing PCS Round 7 for 6 laps of the Nordschleife circuit. It's known as the Green Hell, and for good reason as well. And well, the greenness of the trees is just one of the many things that the drivers are going to have to deal with today. Also, potentially, the greenness of the circuit. I have to bear with me a moment. My mouse has decided to get itself all wrapped up in my headset. I'm from Racing DP. I'll be doing commentary this evening. Over the last couple of weeks, GT5 King 786 has been joining me on commentary. But he's not available this week. So, I'm going at it alone for the commentary on the Nordschleife, which could get a little bit tricky. I might miss a few things, but what I have done is I've sent a message to a majority of the drivers and an invite into my chat party. So if they happen to crash out, unfortunately, they would be able to join me in the commentary box. Although, they would have to make sure they don't swear. And if they're joining me in the commentary box, it could be because they've been involved in a little bit of a collision. Okay, the Nordschleife circuit, we're on for 6 laps. The drivers will have a 20-minute qualifying session and then a 5-minute warm-up and then on for the 6 laps of the race. Tyre wear could be a huge factor here. Weather shouldn't really be a problem because we should be on for a beautiful, sunny, clear day. Well, circuit turns 73, although I've got a feeling a few of the drivers might feel like there's a lot more, and depending on how sideways they get, they'll be doing about double the amount of turns. Admittedly, I had a run around here in the Aussie V8s a few days ago, and the car was great fun to drive, except for around the carousel. That's a corner where we may see a few drivers going around the top route of it, so to speak, to avoid the car spinning out, unless they've been able to do something with their setup that will allow them to get around that corner, riding the bottom banked part of it without any major issues. Okay, so we're on for, as I mentioned, a 20-minute qualifying session where the drivers are going to need to get out there as quickly as possible to try and get their laps in. And GBM Beardy here, he's not wasting any time. One driver is out ahead of him. Try and find out who that is. It's Live Bry. So Live Bry wasting no time whatsoever in getting out on circuit, but Beardy looks like he's going to be trying to get past him already. Now, something for the viewers and the drivers to take into consideration, that these cars hurt these tyres. There's a soft compound and a hard compound. The soft compounds are the quicker ones but don't last very long. So for any of the drivers thinking of doing a qualifying lap on the soft compound tyre, they are going to have to look after them on the out lap. If they don't, they could find that when they're on their flying lap, their tyres are just going to burn out and they'll have no grip left at the end of the lap. And they're not going to get 2 laps in, I doubt. Lap times, we could be looking somewhere around about the 7-minute mark, which means it's going to take the drivers, well, at Live Bry's pace, about 10 minutes, if not longer, to get to the start-finish line, and then 7 minutes, and that only leaves 3 minutes left of the session. So, yeah, very important qualifying laps for the drivers here. Well, while they're getting ready, as one of the drivers is testing out the Armco barrier already, I'm going to have a quick recap on last week's race, where Live Bry did take victory at Imola. A fantastic race, that one, between himself and GBM Beardy. Well, Live Bry did take the victory, scoring 25 points. GBM Beardy, second place on 20 points. Now, I would skip through the drivers at this point. I suppose I could do it on here. GBM Beardy was second place, so he scores 20 points. Dave the Harp, he came third. He's sat in the pits at the moment, interesting. He came third, so it was 16 points for him, and I must admit I'm not a big fan of skipping through all of the cars there. It doesn't look too good. Kay Slate finished fourth, scoring 13 points, with James Hulkenberg finishing fifth, getting 11 points. GT Gavin 2 came home in 6th place, scores 10 points. GBM Vectra 7th, scoring 9 points. Chris Core finished 8th and scored 8 points. Neo Tig finished 9th, scored 7 points. And then Adam 4600 finished 10th, scoring 6 points, and Jason finished 11th, taking home 5 points. RKB Sergeant Caliber, he unfortunately ran out of fuel last week, did not finish the race, so no points for him. G1990 Jonesy and M1989 Woolhouse both did not finish either and scored no points as well. In the drivers' standings, we have GBM Beardy leading the way on 136 points. And then we've got Live Bry in second place on 121. I think GBM Beardy, he's just following Live Bry at the moment as well. So yeah, not many points between them, 15 points between the top two. But then we've got Hesselden in third place on 77 points, but Hesselden isn't racing tonight. He's been dragged out for G1990 Jones's birthday party, which Hesselden was not overly pleased about, so he'll be hoping that they're going to a gentleman's club later to make up for it. K Slay, he's in fourth place on 65 points, Dave the Harp on 58 points, GT Gavin 2 on 57 points. GBM Vectra's got 50, Neo Tig 44, Chris Core's got 18, he too is not racing this evening, sorry it's not 18, it's 38. I'm sat quite far away from my screen at the moment, couldn't see that properly. Adam 4600, who wasn't in the session when we got going but may join us, he's got 26 points. James Hulkenberg was a late joiner to the PCS, so he's got 18 points. From a Racing RI, he's on 15 points along with Jason, who's also on 15, but Jason won't be joining us this evening because he went to Monaco to watch the Formula 1 Grand Prix. Driver Montana, he's on 10 points, Woolhouse on 10 points, Andy Russell on 8, G1990 Jonesy on 5, Sergeant Caliber on 0, and Richie Davey also on 0. Of the drivers we've got in this evening, obviously Andy Russell's out there to try and score some points. Richie Davey jumped in late, probably not going to get a lap time in now. Killer Corkin had his first reserve drive on Friday, does like this track. We'll see if he likes these cars. He'll have had absolutely no practice time in them, so we'll see how he gets on. GBM Beardy, he's one that is potentially there to take pole position and the win, and to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that he's not got ahead of Live Bry to start their qualifying lap, unless he feels that Live Bry may be the quicker driver at the moment. Temp Fear, the Formula Racing World Championship Season 6 champion, joins us for a reserve drive this evening in the Aussie V8s. We'll have to see how he gets on. Hopefully some of these PCS drivers can teach him a little bit of a lesson. Neo Tig very nearly won the race on Friday in the Lotus 72D Cosworth. He's back out on track at a circuit that he really does like, but it looks like he's had a bit of a contact with a barrier as his rear bumper's flapping about a little bit. RKB Sergeant Caliber, I'll probably just call him Caliber, was having a very good race last week in his first event, but as I mentioned, ran out of fuel, so he'll have to make sure that he's got his fuel levels set correctly for the Nordschleife. GT Gavin 2, my co-commentator on Fridays. He's been doing very well on the commentary. Hopefully he'll have a fantastic result here as well. 6th place finish last week in Imola. Hopefully he can do better. That looks like GBM Beardy going rather slow there. Looks like he may be letting a few cars past. GBM Vectra. He's the opening races in the PCS and would like to see another good result from him here. Struggled a little bit in Imola, to be honest, but still scored good points. Live Bry, I think he's a little bit of a dark horse for pole position in the victory here, and I think this may also be his last race as he's looking at moving over to iRacing. What I'd say to that one is good luck with the stewards over there, because from what I hear, you appeal a decision and you get banned from iRacing. There's also only one tyre compound and you can only ever race in the daytime. Oh, and there's no wet weather either. Probably because there's only one tyre compound. But anyway, we won't go into any more detail on that one. For a Racing GP taking his first drive in the Aussie V8s at the moment. We'll see how he gets on today. I know he does like this track, but not a lot of time in the car to see how it handles around here. K Slay, he too could be a dark horse for this particular circuit, and Dave the Harp, he'll be looking to try and bag a victory if he can. He had a very, very strong result on, a very strong race and podium finish on Friday. Then we've got James Hulkenberg. He's a guy that Probably really should have won the race on Friday around this track in the Lotus, and he'll be looking to do exactly that here today. And I must admit, I'm kind of surprised at how slow some of these guys are taking to the track. It's almost like they are on cruise control, but I can only suspect that they are simply looking after the tyres. Now, I'm trying to pop up my track map, but it does not want to work. So let's go and see if we can find someone that has started a flying lap. Livebry was first out on track, but I know a few guys did go past him. Oh, okay. Who's on their hot laps? Without the track map, it's going to be difficult to know. Neotig, he's just coming up to the start finish. So I think Neotig may be one of the first. So he's started the first flying lap. No one gone through Sector 1 yet, not surprising. And now we should start seeing the drivers picking up the pace. I'm not surprised that they've been looking after the tyres. As I said, the soft tyres, they do not last long. And as soon as these guys start pushing them, they're really going to start punishing the rear tyres. To put it into perspective, this is effectively an 80-mile long race, plus a little bit for that to finish off the final lap. Now, in the previous PCS races, we've been looking at one-stop, two-stop strategies on the hard tyres. So you're looking at between, say, 20 to 40 miles on the hard tyre. Well, if you're on the soft tyre, you're not doing that many miles. You're probably looking at 10, 15, which if that's the case, that's one flying lap around the Nordschleife circuit. Neotig definitely has picked up the pace here. A tricky blind kink coming up, big lift for it, and I'm not surprised. You do not want to be running off wide there. Hard on the brakes now. Looking quite stable for Neotig there. So GBM Beardy's not far off starting his flying lap. I think Andy Russell has just started his. Temp Fear has just started his as well. First time racing the Aussie V8s in the PCS. So we'll see how he gets on. See if the car looks as stable as Neotig's did. Heading down the dip. Up over the crest of the hill. Nearly airborne. We may see a few guys getting airborne there, depending on setup, and Temp Fear's into the barrier. That could be a little bit of suspension damage, and damage is something you don't want around this track. It'll compromise your lap and your lap time and effectively race positions, but you can see that Temp Fear's car is much more twitchy. How's he going to get on with the kink? It's going to become more of a kink. He's going for it, he's pushing it. Quite nicely held around there and hard on the brakes now. Not looking anywhere near as stable as Neotig, but Neotig will have had much more practice in them. Sergeant Caliber going a little bit slow. GT Gavin 2 just getting set up to start a flying lap. Livebry, he's heading through Sector 1 now, so we'll see how his car looks in comparison to Neotig and Temp Fear. I reckon we should be seeing it absolutely planted to the tarmac. And it is, no twitchers, throwing it into the fast double right hand apex. Fantastic corner that one, as long as you've got the balls and the grip to do it. Now down the hill. Car's looking absolutely planted. See how he gets on through the left-hander. A nice little lift, coasting the throttle, not pushing it hard, but it could be quicker. Hard on the brakes now, tight around the apex of the corner. And then hard on the power. Absolutely planted that car is. Okay, Front Row Racing GP through Sector 1. Time to crash now, Steve. That's what everyone's waiting for. Now, for the viewers that are chatting away, posting comments, my apologies. I'm not going to be able to get to them this evening, as I am on my own in the commentary box. And I don't want to have any other internet devices on at the moment. But GP not quite hitting the apexes like Livebry was. He's now heading down the hill. We'll see how he copes with the left-hander, whether it's going to be a quick lift or a long lift. It's a long lift with a little blip of the throttle. Quite nicely through there now, hard on the brakes. Taking a wider entry. On a wider exit. Manages to control it around the corner though. K-Slade's back into the pits. Okay, so keep an eye on Dave the Harp now to see how he's getting on. And I think he's either got GBM Beardy or Hulkenberg behind him. But a quick look at Sector 1 times. Killer Corkin a 152.4, Neotig a 151.8, GBM Beardy's just on a 148.8. That's 2 seconds faster than Neotig. Live Bride's done a 150.8, Hulkenberg a 150.6. So through Sector 1, GBM Beardy's the one that's looking absolutely on it, so we'll ride on board with him. And it is GBM Beardy that's got Dave the Harp ahead of him, and Dave the Harp kind of moves out of the way, lets him through. It's going to compromise his own lap, but doesn't want to get in the way of a potential pole sitter. So we'll see how planted Beardy's car's looking, and to be honest, it was looking a little bit twitchy there. Is he going deep? It did go deep, not quite on the racing line there, but hopefully won't have cost him too much time. Now for GBM Beardy, he doesn't exactly need a good result here. If he can score 10 points and Live Bride wins, they'll be on pretty much exactly the same points. But Beardy Races, I believe, has won 4 of them. So for him, all he needs to do is just bag some points. His car definitely looking a little bit more twitchy. Something for the viewers to think of as well, though. It's a beautiful sunny day here, and the sun will be in the eyes, and Beardy's gone a little bit deep there onto the part of the circuit where the sun is spinning. He's off. That's potentially his lap over. Okay, Neotig's finished Sector 2. Let's go and ride on board with Live Bride. So yeah, Beardy's lap could be over there, but it's a situation where he may want to just keep going, because even if it's a bad lap, he'll have a better qualifying position than potentially a few other drivers. So Live Bride into the carousel. He's managed to get his car set up so he can ride the inside line of the carousel, but it's off throttle all the way through there. So this is a chance now then for Live Bride to try and take pole position. Neotig's Sector 2 time was a 3 minutes 40.0. But he was 3 seconds slower than Beardy through that first sector. But it's in the second sector, and when it's nearly 4 minutes long, you don't lose tenths, you lose seconds. Live Bride's looking very, very comfortable here, to be honest. Doesn't look like he's pushing the car too hard. He's just making sure it stays on the racing line, carrying as much speed as he can through the corners. I'm not sure exactly where the Sector 2 line is, but we'll get an idea when that time pops up on the screen. If it was allowing me the track map, then I'd get some idea of sector times on there, but it's not letting me use it for some reason this evening. Okay, into a bit of a crest of the hill and a dip where the car can go very light, very sideways, and I've just heard somebody is in the barrier, so someone somewhere's scratching a bit of paintwork off their car. The Big Dipper, very easy to lose control of the car through that corner, and now a fantastic bit. Oh, track maps just appeared. It's not worked for the first 16 minutes, and now it's just decided to come alive. So Live Bride's got 2 cars ahead of him. And let's see, Live Bride's second sector was a 3:34.4, much quicker than Neotig. So let's see, Neotig, he's posted a lap time for 7 minute 1.8. Andy Russell is one of the drivers that's on the long straight. So he's going to be next to cross the line. I'll have to see. His car's looking very, very twitchy, and if it's twitchy, it's going to be tricky into the final few corners. You want a nice little rhythm through here. You can see a car in the background that'll be closing up on that gap. So what time can Andy Russell place on the board? The car behind is really quick into those final few corners. Now for Andy Russell, it'll be a provisional second place until the next car comes across the line. So what is it for Andy? It's a no time set. So Killer Corkin, he's crossed the line with a no time set, and that is a possibility around this track, that the drivers, even though they do a lap, it gets invalidated. So Beardy, have you messed up your lap too much? He did make a mistake in second sector. He's slower than Live Bride through there, as Live Bride has gone pole position. So GBM Beardy now, what have you got? I think we have lost a driver from the session as well. I'll have a look at that in a few moments' time. Well, Beardy absolutely hammering it into the final few corners. Has he done enough in this final sector to steal pole position? It's a 6 minute 54 to beat. Run a little bit wide in the last corner. Can he do it? I don't think it will be. Oh, he does, a 6:54.4. It's a good lap time. Live Bride now down to second place. Neotigs in third. Andy Russell's fourth. See, Killer Corkin, he's on another flying lap. Tempfear didn't get to finish his lap. Sergeant Caliber, where he is on track, I don't think he's going to get to finish his lap. GBM Vectra, see how he's been getting on with this sector. A 157.3 in sector 1. I tell you what, Neotig's just done an absolutely fantastic sector 1 time, a 149.6. That's nearly 10 seconds faster than GBM Vectra. Vectra's second sector, a 3:45. That's pretty much on par. And see how he gets on through the final few corners. Obviously, once the timer in the top right corner gets to 0, that is session over. Vectra could go a little deep here. He has. Well, where are you going to get on the board? It could be anywhere. Third, fourth. It's fourth place for GBM Vectra. I mean, that could pretty much be qualifying over. Killer Corkin's still out on track. Sergeant Caliber may be able to get his lap completed. Trying to also have a quick look at who we have lost from the session. It is... Let's see. I shall have to check my notes as we watch Sergeant Caliber popping through the final few corners. In the warm-up session, I will just reconfirm who it is that has been disconnected. Usually I'll pop up the track map and it would say at that point. But what has Sergeant Caliber done? It's a 7:19, it's 5th place. Andy Russell's back out on track. Richie Davey has gone out on track. Killer Corkin is still going round, but not enough time to complete a lap. It may have been Hulkenberg. I think Hulkenberg may have had a disconnection, which he is now back on the track. I think it was. It may well have been James Hulkenberg. I tell you what, if he's starting this race from 14th place, it will please a few of the other drivers, but definitely not himself. But that is pretty much it. That's qualifying over. And some fantastic lap times posted there. I mean, the 6:54.4 from Beardy. That is a lap time that's almost on a level with the Lotus 72D. So GBM Beardy pole, Lifebright second, Neotig third. That's one hell of a battle potentially up at the front. And then down at the bottom, GT Gavin 2, Tempfear from Racing GP, K-Slay, Dave the Harp and James Hulkenberg did not get a lap time in. Talk about got a lot to do. Hulkenberg has definitely now got a lot to do. He had the pace in the PCF to win the race, and he may have felt that he'd got the pace to fight for the win on this one, but starting 14th place, it's not going to be easy. It really is not. Okay, so we're on for a 5-minute warm-up session now, where it's a chance for the drivers to get their pit strategy sorted, their fuel levels sorted. From doing a qualifying run, they should have an idea of just how much fuel each lap is going to take. We could see quite a bit of action on this warm-up lap, but while the drivers are getting themselves sorted, I'm just going to quickly grab myself a bottle of water, so you'll have to apologise me while the microphone is quiet for a moment. We'll just watch some of the guys going around the circuit. Okay, apologies for the quietness on the microphone for a few moments there, but something for all of the drivers to be aware of. I mean, I mentioned it during qualifying about the tyre wear, and for some of the new drivers that may not be fully aware of it, they may have worked it out in qualifying. If they haven't really been watching the PCS, then they may not realise that the soft tyre is a tyre you will not want to run in the race. So hopefully somebody has let them know and advised them on that one, or perhaps kept it quiet so they can gain the advantage from it. Regarding strategy, I mean, it's a 6-lap race. I think we could be seeing a 2-stop race here, even on the hard compound tyre, pitting at the end of lap 2 and again at the end of lap 4. We could see drivers trying to get that 3rd lap out as Andy Russell's into the barrier. Very easy to crash around here. Yeah, I think we could see a few drivers try and eke out 3 laps out of these tyres as Killer Corkin has a spin up the hill. A very easy corner to have that spin there. He's now got to be careful because he's got cars approaching and hopefully they'll see him. They're far enough behind. That's K-Slate. Far enough behind to spot him, but now Killer Corkin will be running a little bit slow. Neo Tig riding along with a silver car ahead of him. Not exactly sure who is in the silver car. Let's see if we can go and find out. It's Hulkenberg that's in the silver car, and not usually the colour of car that he'd go for, but he is in a silver one this week. Okay, 2 seconds. It's time to get ready for the race. And this could be one hell of a manic start. I mean, these cars, it's hard enough just to get them off the line, let alone try and get them around the Nordschleife circuit when you are side by side. We could quite easily see somebody upside down. We could see cars spinning it on the line. But it's hopefully going to be one hell of a race. The only thing I really hope is that we're not going to be having the sideways lag situation that, well, it's not lag, it's a sideways error with these cars. But it's green light now, the drivers are away, starting the Nordschleife race. It's going to get very busy into the opening few corners, and it is side by side. The leaders have managed to run away and create a little bit of a gap already. Hopefully no jump starts there, but Richie Davey here in 3rd with Sergeant Caliber up to 4th, Andy Russell 5th, and a whole train of cars behind him trying to battle it out. K-Slade trying to have a sneaky look at GT Gavin too, but not able to do it. And then we've got Temp Fear, whose car was jumping about a little bit there, in 11th place. From our Racing GP's up to 12th, and Temp Fear's car is lag. That's a definite lag, and hopefully cars around him will be able to avoid that one. David Harp 13th, and James Hulkenberg still riding 14th. So they've got a lot of work to do, but it's getting very busy here just ahead of K-Slade. There's GT Gavin too, he's gained another place. He's not wasting any time, he's got past GBM Vectra. Let's go and have a look up at the front. We've got GBM Beardy leading Live Bry, similar to Imola last week. These guys should probably have similar pace to each other, is what we would expect. Although I do know that Hulkenberg was saying that he feels he's got the same, if not better, pace as the guys up at the front. But he's got 11 cars between himself and these guys. Richie Davey in 3rd place is actually closing that gap up now, as Sergeant Caliber in 4th place is leading this train. Andy Russell 5th, Killer Corkin 6th, Neotic 7th, GT Gavin 2. He's managed to work his way up to 8th place at the moment, and he's having a look. Is it? No, it's Killer Corkin. No, it's not. It's Andy Russell having to sneak past Caliber. Caliber's had a bit of a moment. That's going to give Killer Corkin half a chance to attack. And now we're getting to a very slow section of the circuit, and K-Slade sneaks all the way around the outside. But now he's ran wide. He's off the track. He's in the barrier. He may have a touch of damage there. He's dropped down a number of places. He's now got his F1 teammate right behind him. Dave the Harp and Hulkenberg still riding at the back of this train of cars. All getting side by side here, 2 by 2 around the Nordschleife. It's not easy to do, but it can be done. You try and make it 3 wide though, it's really not going to work. So Killer Corker then now up to 5th place. Sergeant Caliber, I think, is losing positions, although he's just regained one as GT Gavin 2 makes a little bit of contact with Neotig, and that's going to put him under pressure from the cars behind him, and there's plenty of them catching him up. But Neotig, he's looking racy. We know he's quick around this track. He was on Friday, but he was also involved in a huge collision that ended Hulkenberg's race, so he will not want to repeat that incident. Looks like K-Slay has just managed to gain a place. He has. He dropped down to 11th. He's managed to get back up to 10th place, 9th place now. So let's have a quick look up at the front. Live Bride, we've missed the move, apologies for that, but Live Bride now up into the lead. Beardy second, Richie Davies dropped away from him in third. Andy Russell, his good mate, can now see him in fourth, with Killer Cork in fifth. Caliber sixth, and Caliber is the train driver at the moment. So riding on board with Neotig then in 8th place. But he's got K-Slay catching up behind him into a very fast section of the racetrack. Neotig's looking quick in a straight line. He's having a look. The car ahead goes defensive. He's now out of shape. He's on the curb. Can he control it? There's a fast left-hander coming up, and if you're in out of position on that one, you can easily end up in the barrier, but they all managed to get through there somehow. Oh, Killer Corker's having a wiggle. And in the background, is that Hulkenberg? No, it's Tem Fear. He's having a bit of a shake of his ass there. Oh, it's getting busy. I think someone may have had a power boost penalty there. I think that's Neotig. Has he dropped down a place? No, GT Gavin has, as he's under pressure from Neotig. But K-Slay, he's snuck through all the way into 6th place just before and through the carousel. Now for a Racing GP now in 14th place, Dave the Harp 13th, Hulkenberg 12th, Vectra 11th, Temfear 10th, and he's catching up to this train of cars that's absolutely going mental around the Nordschleife. Oh, GT Gavin's giving Neo a little bit of a nudge. I wonder if Hulkenberg paid him to do that one, but K-Slay looks like he's ready to make another move, but into this twisty section he may not be able to do it. A fantastic race on this opening lap though. I mean, it is not easy to overtake around here, but the guys are doing it. K-Slay, he's probably overtaken more cars than anyone else at the moment, but that's because he gained places, lost places, and then regained places. Andy Russell, he's now up to 3rd place. Richie Davey, where are you? Richie Davey is out. No, he's not, he's in 5th. We have lost a driver, though. And it's not telling me who, and the track map is not rotated, it's not showing the cars moving. But Andy Russell now up to 3rd with Killer Corkin in 4th, K-Slay 5th. Oh, big crash in the background, that's GT Gavin 2 into the barrier, spins it around, that's going to drop him down to last place. It is, he's had to wait for the cars to come past him. Okay, that's interesting. On the timing screen it was showing we're missing a driver. And now we're not. Okay, a little bit weird there. Richie Davies at a moment then, he's down in 6th place. So possibly a little bit of damage on that car. But Killer Corkin, he's got a sniff at a podium here if he can manage to get ahead of Andy Russell. GBM Beardy's now closing in the gap to Live Bright as they get on to the long straight. This is all about top straight line speed here. Oh, we've got movement. K-Slay's now to 4th, but he's ran wide as Andy Russell's into the barrier and into the barrier again. He's now down to 5th. K-Slay's up to 3rd. Killer Corkin's held position in 4th, but Richie Davies now looking for 5th place with Temfear trying to steal a position. Richie's definitely got damage on that car. We can see from Neotig's view, or we could, that his car's twitching all over the place. Sergeant Caliber under attack from what looks like Dave the Harp, who moves up to 8th place. It is Dave the Harp. Hulkenberg now in 10th. GBM Venture in 11th. He's under attack from a Racing GP, who's going to try and steal that 10th place. 11th place even, and at the moment manages to do so, but they're kind of straight line drag racing it down towards the final few corners, and GP does get the move done. And so Dave the Harp is up to 7th place. K-Slay into 3rd with a bit of a gap now. And Hulkenberg into 9th, and we've got a car in the background off the track as GP. GBM Vectra heading to the final few corners. GT Gavin's down to 12th, and Andy Russell, who was running 13th, is now in... Sorry, was running 3rd, is now in 13th. And we have now apparently lost a driver. GT Gavin 2 into the pits, so that moves Andy Russell up to 12th place. Wow, what an opening lap. Absolutely everything going off there for Tem Fear. He's up to 6th place and holding on to the coattails of Neotig, who's in 5th, and a driver who really will be wanting to be much higher up the grid for Killer Corkin. Perhaps the running he did on Friday has just helped him running these Aussie V8s on the Sunday up to 4th place. Still a chance of 3rd available. GBM Beardy though, all over the back of Live Brian. These guys, I'm fairly sure they're pulling out a nice big healthy gap on 3rd place. And unfortunately my track map's not working, so I can't really give you an exact unless I count it just yet. Tyre wear is now the issue for the drivers. Will the tyres last this lap and one more, or are they going to have to pit at the end of this one? Now you may see that some drivers haven't set a lap time yet, as Neotig is now up to 4th place. He's managed to get past Killer Corkin. That'll mean that their lap times were invalidated on that opening lap. And Killer Corkin now 5th, and Dave the Harp not too far behind him in 6th place. And Dave started 13th, so getting up to where he has now. It's a fantastic opening lap for him. Tem Fear 7th place, so he's lost a position actually, and he's got Sergeant Caliber and James Hulkenberg right behind him. And Hulkenberg, I think, really needs to try and get a shift on. Perhaps for that first lap of the race it was a case of, right, well, let's just take it easy, look after the tyres, a few people might crash and we'll let them get on with it. Hulkenberg trying to have a sneaky look up into the inside of the corner, I call the 4th gear bend. I must admit, I do love this particular circuit. It's an absolute monster of a racetrack. Requires full-on attention from the drivers at every single moment. I mean, you can have a crash just by looking in your mirror. Okay, GBM Vectra running in 10th, Front Row Racing GP 11th, with Andy Russell not far behind him in 12th. GT Gavin having made his pit stop in 13th place. And I think it may be Richie Davey that is out of the race. Okay, Dave the Harp, he's closed up that gap on Killer Corkin. And I think Dave was doing a similar thing to Hulkenberg in that opening lap, just taking it easy, looking after those tyres, letting whatever carnage is going to happen. Oh, Killer Corkin's got a little bit sideways on the exit, and Dave sneaks past him. A nice bit of driving there from Dave the Harp, taking full advantage of the exit. Now I'm wondering whether, for the likes of Killer Corkin, maybe running a soft tyre here and absolutely killing those rear tyres. If he is, he will be in at the end of lap 2. A little bit of a gap opened up now between Live Bright and Beardy, but it's not a massive gap. It's a gap that can be reduced in the blink of an eye. But I am going to try and work out what the gap is, and heading up to the carousel is a perfect point to do it, from 1st to 3rd. It's about a 20-second gap from 2nd to 3rd, and Casely choosing not to run down in the lower part of the carousel. And I don't blame him, because the car does like to spin there. Neotig's managed to get his car set up to be able to cope with it. Dave the Harp looked like he was taking the high road. Killer Corkin the low road. Tem Fear up on the high road. See where Sergeant Caliber goes. He's down, where you want to be. If your car can handle it, it is the faster way around the circuit. Oh, Tem Fear, he's off the track. He may have a power boost penalty as well. He's going very, very slow, which means Hulkenberg's going to be all over the back of him now. Tempfear could be another driver that could be running the soft tyre, which would have been very, very good on that opening lap, but now is in a situation of you're getting destroyed. It's as simple as that. So Hulkenberg now up to 7th place, but Tempfear trying to pressure him a little bit, but doesn't look like the grip is quite there. Killer Cork, and he's now down to 5th place with Dave the Harp having made that move on him a little earlier on. Oh, Neotig's in the barrier. Dave's going to get another free pass. So that's Dave the Harp now up to 4th place. 2 overtakes where he's not really had to work hard for them. Just drive around the corner and wave at the guy as he's trying to make his way back on to the racetrack. Now let's have a look, see if Beardy's close enough. Beardy could really do with being closer into these particular corners, because they're about to get onto the long straight, and the closer he is into these 2 corners now, the more chance he's got of a bit of slipstream and trying to get past. Now if these guys pit at the end of this lap, they're definitely on, I would reckon, for a 2-stop race, having run the hard tyre, but I think they're probably going to go for another one and try and 1-stop it. Anyone on the super soft tyres, or the soft tyres, they're going to be pitting at the end of this lap, I fear, which could put them in a tricky situation, because if they go to the hard tyre, they're then going to be asking that tyre to be doing 4 laps, which it's not going to do, so they may be better off going for a 2-stop, putting the hard tyre on and having 2 laps where the tyres will just absolutely lap it up. So Live Bry then heading up towards the pit lane. Is he going to be going for it? I don't think he is, but you never know. No, he doesn't. Neither does Beardy. Doesn't surprise me that. Casely is going to be next to find out. Dave the Harp, as we know, is now up to 5th place. We'll have a quick look, see if we've got a battle going on. 7th and 8th aren't too far apart, and then we're a little more spread out. But is Casely going to be going for the pit lane? He might do. Try something a little bit different. No, he continues on. And Dave the Harp, you know what? I think Dave the Harp is catching him. And he's not going for the pit lane either. So the hard tyres are lasting well. Neotig, he continues on. Killer Corkin, he continues on as well. James Hulkenberg, he's not wasting any time. He's staying out. Tempfear, no pit stop for him just yet. Sergeant Caliber into the pits he goes. That'll be to get rid of a set of soft tyres, or perhaps repair a little bit of damage. Now GBM Vectra, he continues on, and he's going to gain a place there. And Andy Russell, he's still heading into the final few corners. No pit stop for him, but I believe he may have pitted a lap ago. GT Gavin 2, he pitted at the end of the 1st lap, so I would not expect to see him in, and he's not, from a Racing GP. No pit stop for him. I'll tell you what though, it could get a little close on the exit of the pits between Sergeant Caliber from a Racing GP. No, nice healthy little gap there. Okay, pit stops, some pit stops being done. The field getting a little bit spread, which is not a surprise here around this track. And Beardy still able to keep up with Live Bry. Live Bry with a 6:59.4 best lap. Beardy with a 6:59.7 best lap. Let's have a quick look at best laps. So Casely is a 7:05, Dave the Harper 7:03, and they both set those laps last time around. Neotig's not set a valid one yet. Killer Corkins in the 7:15s. Hulkenberg's lap was a 7:42. GBM Vectra a 7:47. Sergeant Caliber a 7:54, but he did make a pit stop. Now, what I would be surprised about now is if the drivers go longer again, if they don't stop at the end of this lap. But Beardy is now really closing that gap in on Live Bry. Maybe wants to pit ahead of him. Let's see if my track map is working yet. No, it is not. Really odd one, that. Oh, Beardy's getting really, really close. He may have just had a lap of looking after the tyres a little bit to try and apply some pressure on this particular lap. I think Beardy may have the faster straight line speed. He will have a bit of slipstream helping him as well, but he does look quick in the faster sections of the circuit. But this is what I was on about. If he could be this close as they lead on to the long straight, he's got a really, really good chance of taking the lead. But when it comes to some of the corners, Livebry's just opened up a gap on him through one of the corners there. So that could be a bit of a problem for Beardy. He's quicker on the straights. He might be quicker on the grass as well. But yeah, quicker on the straights, but not as quick in the corners as Livebry at the moment. You see Casely running third. Is Dave the Harp closing in on him? No, I think he may have dropped off a little bit. Can't visually see the car ahead. Neotig is not that far behind Dave. And Hulkenberg now up to 6th place, not that far behind him either. Killer Corkin has now been dropped down to 7th and Tempfia down to 8th. GBM Vectra, he's had a little bit of a moment off track, and that's going to give Andy Russell a chance to catch up on him. But Andy Russell's got to think about GT Gavin too, who's absolutely flying off the track. That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say absolutely flying, but he's now flying off the track and just doing exactly what GBM Beardy did. GBM Vectra did. So GT Gavin pushing hard, perhaps lost what corner he was on there. Sergeant Calibre is not far behind him at all either. He can visibly see him. So battles are not over here. It only takes one error to find yourself under attack. And Flora Racing GP is not that far behind them either. So all still to play for here. But the tyres are taking more and more of a pounding now. So it is going to get more and more difficult for the drivers to get the car slowed down, hit their apexes, get the power down. We've got a car facing the wrong way. It's Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg spun it. He's had to spin it around to get facing the right direction again. That's down to 8th place for you, my friend. And you've got to be careful of GBM Vectra, thinking he can catch you up. So that moves up Tempfia and Killer Corkin. Obviously, this is a battle that's going to be of the most interest. Up at the front, they're not too far away from the mini carousel, which is the sign to say you get ready for the long straight. So it's crucial for Beardy to get close now. He really needs to be up the rear bumper of Livebry. He's pushing hard. He's got close, that's what he needed to do. But Livebry's got good traction on the exits of the corners. Oh, Beardy having a little bit of a wobble there, taking a tighter line, and this is where he now needs his straight line speed. But Livebry's already opened up a little bit of a gap. It's in the traction of the corners that Livebry is gaining the most. So for Beardy, he can get close into a corner, but he can't get close on the exit. He's gaining a little bit, I think, but not enough, hitting a speed of 183 miles an hour. That gap is coming down, but not enough. He may actually need to be side by side as they head into the corner going onto the long straight. Okay, are they going to be going for the pit lane this time around? I would suspect that they will. Yes, Livebry's in, Beardy's in, no surprise there. If either one of them had gone on for the extra lap, they'd have lost the lead of the race. And they're both into the pits and hitting the wall, which is no surprise there. Now this is where you hope that none of the pit crews drop their nuts, make any mistakes, no problems with tyres, no problems with fuel, don't stick the wet tyres on. Who's going to get going first? It's a stationary race. I can hear Casely approaching. Livebry just about gets going ahead. He is, so Livebry keeps hold of the lead. Casely into the pits. Andy Russell looks like his race is over as Dave the Harp is now into the pits as well. Neotig into the pits. Killer Corkin, time for you to follow them in, my friend. Tempfear's going to do exactly the same, I reckon. So yeah, Killer Corkin into the pits. 10th Fear doesn't. He continues on. Hulkenberg into the pits. 10th Fear. That's a decision that could cost you. GBM Vectra not far away from the pit lane. I think he'll be making a move for position. He may not have to stop again yet. Oh, it's close between Dave the Harp and 10th Fear. So Dave, having pitted, has come out just ahead of 10th Fear, and 10th Fear has not stopped yet. If he's going to try and take these tyres to the end of the race, I'll be surprised if they are able to make it. If they were able to make it, I think one of these guys would have gone for that particular strategy. It does sound like these two up at the front are just sort of looking after their tyres a little bit and not pushing them too hard, not destroying the tyres while they get up to temperature. And Casely still running third, Dave the Heart fourth, opens up a gap on 10th Fear. Just goes to show the extra speed from a brand new set of tyres, which means that 10th Fear is now going to have to watch out. Well, he's going to see how quick Neotig catches him up. See Hulkenberg 7th, Caliber and Killer Corkin having a little bit of a battle here. I think Killer Corkin may have had a little bit of a long stop there. I think he's lost a position and Caliber has gained one. Killer Corkin nearly getting airborne over the crest of the hill. Oh, Caliber's taking a very tight line around the corner. Could compromise him on exit if Killer Corkin close enough to benefit with a slipstream. Both drivers pretty much using the throttle in exactly the same way through the corner. Killer Corkin having a look. That was close. That was close to a proper DTM, get out of my way, move. It didn't quite work, but it shows that at the moment Killer Corkin got the speed to try and attack Caliber here. May be able to have a look after the dip of the hill. Blind apex left-hander can be taken very, very quickly, but if you get it wrong, you're hitting the barrier. Caliber's car looking quite stable in the corners. Hulkenberg spinning. He's spinning. He's going to have to be careful now because... No, I think he'll be alright. Neotig, I mentioned about Neotig catching 10th Fear. He's already caught him, passed him, shown him that he should have made a pit stop at the end of that last lap. And Sergeant Caliber and Killer Corkin still going at it. I think Hulkenberg's race may be over. It is. It is. Oh dear, oh dear. James, you spun it twice and I got it on camera twice. A tricky race out there by the looks of things.
Yeah, no, it's very tricky out there. Just a shame because I came in at pit stop and they didn't change my tyres.
Oh
weird.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, very weird.
Give us a little bit of insight then. Were you running the hard tyre there? Will they do the 3 laps quite comfortably?
Yeah, it were 3 laps, and if you'd set your car up correctly, the rear tyres, you had enough grip. And you could notice that I was pushing because I could see that Neotig was struggling, and a few cars in front of me were struggling, but I went and just touched the curb and round I went.
Well, I tell you what, in qualifying, you started 14th. Was there a bit of a disconnection there?
No, just ran the touch wide and lap times automatically invalidated, so that was the first one.
Oh dear.
So yeah, not many people to set lap
Oh,
times.
10th Fear, sorry, 10th Fear's just had an enormous crash and the secondary one as well. I tell you what,
suspension damage there.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Now he's not made a pit stop yet. And Dave the Harp and Neotig have caught him up and passed him at an absolutely ridiculous rate of knots. And I think 10th Fear has realised that, he should have pitted, and now he's got no choice. He's got a long way to go to get back to the pits, and that car doesn't want to turn.
No, they don't want to perform at all.
Oh, Killer Corkin, he's got ahead of Caliber, but he has just ran a little bit wide and nearly took the wing mirror off his car. But he's now running in 8th place. Caliber 9th, Vectra 10th, GT Gavin 11th, from a Racing GP 12th. But I tell you what, James, you might want to have a look at this battle up at the front. Live Brian Beardy, they're on a bit of another level here this evening.
Yeah, it was touch annoying that I didn't qualify because over one lap, I was pretty decent and up with these guys, but they've clearly got the talent in these cars.
Well, what I've been seeing throughout the opening 3 laps of this race so far is that GBM Beardy has got fantastic straight line speed. They're both pretty good going into the corners, but Livebry has got the traction on the exit of the corners, and Beardy can't quite get close enough leading up to the long straight, because by the time by the time Beardy's put the power down, Livebry's already gone.
Yeah, it's these cars, even if you get in the slipstream and Beardy just runs wide there, that'll give Livebry an extra few tenths in his pocket down the start-finish, down the long back straight.
Well, I suppose in a way it is a start-finish, because if you do go to the Nordschleife to have a drive round, it is on this straight that you do join and leave the track.
Yeah, no, it's just a bit frustrating. I had quite a temp here now. We're having a good old chin wag temp. It looked like we had suspension damage there. It would pretty much looked like a bucking bronco, that thing.
What, mine?
Yeah.
Oh man, I think we both had a similar type of race where it just went from bad to worse.
No, the worst thing with mine was, I did qualifying, got my lap validated. So I thought, you know, I was sneaking up what everyone else is doing. So I was looking at a few things, trying to change the setup according to what people got. So I was messing with the gears as well. So I'm like, no, there's not much you can do with the gears anyway. Left it.
No.
First long straight on that first lap of that race, I'm like, hang on. I've changed from 5th to 6th and it's revving like it's max. What have I done? I must have accidentally lowered the 6th gear, so it's pretty much the same as 5th gear.
Yeah, same as 5th gear, then you're sitting duck then.
Okay, we're taking your championship off you now, Tempfrey. That's... never let a driver set a car up. Who needs 6th gear?
Temp, I've got to say though, that were, I don't know if DP spotted it, but that were a nice bit of wheel-to-wheel. I thought, oh, is he going to drift it wide? But no, it was sweet as that was. Absolutely brilliant.
I'm surprised you got past me by that point. I was just like, no, go on. I'll let you for a bit.
I'll tell you what though, Tempfrey, here's a question for you, right? You saw quite a few people pitting at the end of that 3rd lap. At what point did you realise, oh, I should have pitted?
As soon as I just understood into a barrier, but I actually was going to see if I could try and do a no stop in all honesty.
Okay. Hulkenberg's got a little bit of experience on these tyres. Hulkenberg, do you reckon a no stop on these tyres would have been possible?
No chance, absolutely no chance. Pushing it with 3 laps on your 4th lap, you're praying. You're living on a prayer really with them rear tyres.
Go on then, James, you got to sing it now. I'll set you up. Whoa! Take my hand.
Hey.
I'm old.
Actually, I hate Brian Adams, so I don't know I'm singing that. Anyway, I'll probably get a load of hate mail now.
There's no wrong with Brian Adams.
He runs a touch wide. Has he got a 5-second penalty? That's just give Livebry even more time. Beardy just chucking time away there. He got so close up behind. And he'll be kicking himself in that helmet.
Well, we've been watching Beardy following Livebry around this track for a number of laps, and on occasion he's dropped off for one reason or another. He's been able to close the gap back up on every occasion. He was doing it in Imola last week as well. But I've been wondering throughout the course of the race whether for Beardy it's a case of, well, I don't really need to fight him yet. It's on the last lap I need to fight him, so I need the tyres when I get there.
I'm pretty sure if I know Beardy, you need to fight him every time, at any time, any opportunity arises, because around this circuit, as I found out, unless you've got a tyre advantage, you're pretty much, you've got to try and annoy the driver in front, get him out of position in order to make an overtake, and even then, you're putting a lot of faith and a lot of trust in the other drivers. Me and Temp found out as we were going side by side.
Yeah. I tell you, Beardy's managed to close that gap up again. I will just say, I can't check the YouTube comments, folks, so apologies that I'm not mentioning anything that anyone may be talking about. But if you can't hear these two guys that join me in the commentary box, guys, just check and make sure that you have got your microphone set to allow to be shared.
Yeah, Beard is taking a lot of curb. He's trying to get as close as he can. He's going to drop it down now into fourth gear into here. Touch of the brakes, but as he run a bit wide, yeah. Well, that has cocked up that corner there.
In all of the high-speed sections of the circuit, Beardy is faster. But then it comes to like the one crucial, because around this track, the sector one, it's all corner, fast bit corner, and then the second sector is a lot of like, it's quite fast and flowing, but there's sort of 3 or 4 crucial corners where Beardy's losing the time.
Yeah, it's and unfortunately with that start-finish straight, even if you have your gears set correctly, you get to 181 mile an hour and it goes no further. That's it, tops out. So it doesn't matter how close you get up behind, you're not getting past unless you're doing a damn dare on the brakes.
The thing is as well, I mean, it'd have been the same in the Lotus. If two cars have got a very similar top-end speed, you can use your slipstream to catch up. As soon as you pull out to make the overtake, you hit the full force of the air and it goes blah, and you're not going past. I mean, that's where having proper use, or you properly using the slipstream effect.
Beardy's got a lot of grip through here. Live Ride's just going to touch wide.
But yeah, I mean,
the slipstream effect, like you say, you pull out and then you're pretty much sitting duck. Beardy's chomping now. He's wanting this. Well, Live Ride, I think Live Ride's being sensible here. He's looking after the tyres, whereas Beardy's been a bit more aggressive and not thinking about the long game. Two more laps to go after this.
Beardy is pushing it hard and he's got to. But yeah, I mean, the best way to use the slipstream is when you're in the slipstream and you're gaining, don't be full throttle. That way, when you go to pull out, you've got a bit of throttle you can use. So that's the best way to make the most of the slipstream effect. It's something that not a lot of people will do, but if they hear this and then go, you know what, I've not tried that, do it. It does make a massive difference, because otherwise, if you're full throttle, you'll be up behind them, you pull out, you've got absolutely nothing else you can do. So if you want a chance, as you're closing in that gap, lift off the throttle a bit so when you do pull out you can nail it. But this is where Beardy, he needs to be close through this corner, and actually it's close.
Slight lift in third gear and you can take a lot more speed than you think. I think that's what Beardy's done this lap.
Well, he's closer on this occasion than he has been throughout the previous few laps, and he is now gaining. He's in the slipstream.
Yeah, but you'll find at this point now they're going to just equalise on lap time. It'll be 181 mile an hour now.
Well, Beardy was hitting 184.
Each other.
Yeah. Well, Beardy with the slipstream is hitting 184, so he has got a speed advantage, but not enough of one.
Let's make sure they don't make a mistake into this tricky little section after that. Such a long straight, no, both sweet as a nut through there in the last corner.
Well, they're about to start the final lap of the race. So I think Beardy's going to have to chuck it up the inside somewhere.
Ooh, Live Ride's going to touch wide and turn one. Beardy's got a nice run down the hill, dropping it down into third gear, slight little lift, and then back up to fourth, fifth, and then dropping it down into second through this section. And just being gentle on the throttle, bopping it up into third gear now, and then back down to second as we get through this tight, twisty little section. Back up to third and then back down into second. As this is an awkward corner, this one. It doesn't look like much of one, but you can easily spin it on them little curbs and then full throttle through it. This is probably my favourite part of the circuit. Full throttle, banging it up into fifth, maybe sixth gear if you've got your gears right, dropping it down into fourth through here and just clipping the curb. That's a nasty curb to clip. And then you just want to bolt it down here, and you want to turn in before you think the car will turn, and it'll land very nicely. This you just a slight dab of the brake.
You'll have seen though through that sector, through the whole of that sector, in the corners, Live Bry opened up the gap. They got to the fast sector, Beardy closed it in a bit, but as soon as they got to that corner where he clipped the curb, he's lost a bit of time. So, anyway, keep an eye on that battle. Just want to have a quick flick through the field. Casely still running in third place. He's managed to drop his fastest lap down to a 6 minute 56.555. Dave the Harp was in fourth place last we looked, and he still is in fourth place, but his best lap is 7:01.545. Fifth place is Neo Tig, who's driving a machine gun at the moment. His fastest lap, a 6:59.162. Managed to actually get one on the board now. Killer Corkin running in sixth place with a 7 minute 10.411. So he's now on the final lap of the race. And Sergeant Caliber, I'll tell you what, we've got a battle going on here. Sergeant Caliber, seventh place. GT Gavin 2 in eighth place. GBM Vector's just had a semi-spin in ninth place. And from a Racing GP in 10th, and I think we may have lost another driver, unless that was just Temp Fear joining us in the commentary box from earlier on. It's been very, very quiet.
Oh, this is going to go down. It's probably can't shut up yet, but this is going to go down a wire between these two. These two are one mistake and it's all over.
I know how we shut him up. Hulkenberg, go and watch 7th and 8th place. Temp Fear, why don't you let us know what's going on up in 1st and 2nd place? But also, if you can, try and give us an insight. You've obviously been racing the F1 cars on F1 2016 in the Formula Racing World Championship. What was it like going from that, jumping into one of these Aussie V8s?
Well, I wish it was F1 2016 first of all.
Well, okay, 2015, yeah.
But it's mainly just the corner, and you just understeer. Just the grip difference. That's what the main thing. The power is actually out of the corner in terms of traction, very similar. It is just the understeer mainly.
Yeah, there's a definite sort of, okay, this car does not have a massive front wing with 249 million elements on it that's giving me 11.1 pounds of downforce for every centimetre. All you've got is a front bumper and a couple of big fat tyres.
And one huge rear wing.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you what, I am looking forward though, the new the tyre changes that will come in for F1 in official F1 in 2017. I'm glad they haven't gone with the low profile tyre. The low profile tyre, it might look good, but from a racing perspective, not going to be very good. From an engineering perspective, that's 90% of the suspension travel gone. However, the new tyres that they're going to be using, I think it's 8 centimetres wider per tyre on the rear. The fronts are going to be 5-6 centimetres wider. They look fat, they look chunky, they're going to have more grip. The drivers are going to be able to...
Live Ride in the lead, almost gone wide then.
You can tell Hulkenberg can't control himself. He was watching 7th and 8th, but he's not. He couldn't help it. He's like a magnet to a fridge door. Oh, I don't know.
To a flame.
But Beardy's off!
Oh! That'll be a 5-second penalty. Slam
it
dunk.
is. It's a power boost penalty. That's just pretty much gifted Live Pride the victory here. So, Hulkenberg, what's happening in 7th and 8th?
God knows, I'm not watching it. I'm watching the front. Live Pride looks pretty comfy now. Looks comfy now.
I need to go and have a word with Murray Walker and get him to come and take that microphone off you. Get Walker to sort out shunt.
Gavin's all over Caliber, by the way.
He is, you're right. It's hard to see Temp Fear, he's on the ball. I don't know, James. You drop one way.
Replace me.
You can have the interesting stuff if you want.
Oh, Ben! Gavin's touched him!
Caliber, I think he's needs some calipers on them brakes because they did not work.
Well, they don't really work when you're being pushed along, but in all fairness, GT Gavin 2 did lift off and sort of go, it's alright, you can have the position back, but Gavin's struggling a little bit now.
Yeah.
GBM Vector's dropped a position, I think, from a Racing GP's race is over. It is, his car is parked up in the pit lane. So let's go back up to the front. Live Brian Beardy.
Closed up. Beardy's gained it back.
Well, Beardy's just had a little bit of a wiggle. Oh no, he spun it!
He's lost it!
Oh my days, Beardy, have a shave, because your beard must be getting in the way. I'm wondering, whether he's got such a big beard that when he put his helmet on, it was sort of tucked up in front of his face, making him think that his eyelashes had grown, getting in the way. But that has now just gifted Livebry the victory here at the Nordschleife, unless Livebry absolutely goes and bins it at the end here. But he's only got about 4 or 5 corners to go. So that's it. Now GP has joined us in the commentary box, but there's not much left to commentate on. Livebry then into the last couple of corners. The gap is now opened up, is quite a big one. So for Livebry, he can cruise it to the finish line.
Nice. All crew are there to say well done. Look at them there. Oh, it's brilliant.
Victory then for Livebry at the Nordschleife in the front row racing at PCS. GBM Beardy comes around the final corner to take second place. He looked like he gave it everything he could. And K-Slay not that far away. I tell you what, I did a time gap between K-Slay and the leaders earlier on in the race. It was about 19-20 seconds. I think he closed that gap in quite a bit. So a fantastic third place then for K-Slay, showing he's definitely got what it takes in these cars. And Dave the Harp in fourth. And I tell you what, Neotig not that far behind him in fifth. So Dave needs to make sure he gets these corners right.
Yeah, it'll all be chilled out now for Dave the Harp.
Well, you say that, he can't chill out too much because Neotig's just pulled in a massive chunk of time, but it will be fourth place for Dave the Harp, fifth place for Neotig. Killer Corkin, he's riding in sixth place at the moment. He's just getting on to the long straight. So from a Racing GP, why don't you tell us how tricky these cars were, or how enjoyable these cars were to drive around the Nordschleife circuit?
Both very enjoyable, very difficult. I just want to say a great thank you to James for lending me his setup. Also thank you for letting me have a little drive around here today. Unfortunately, I went off track too many times and got disqualified, so there
disqualified? Oh my days, oh my days. Well, you got further into the race than Tempfear and Hulkenberg did. But Killer Corkin... Yeah, oh, of course.
Hey, we're having a move here, lads. I think Caliber's all over the back of GT Gavin. Now, I think with that front end, he might be down on straight line speed.
Oh, Killer Corkin, he's going to cross the line to take sixth. If he does too many donuts, though, he's not going to get there. Let's see. Caliber is holding on to seventh place. GT Gavin hasn't got the straight line speed, as you said.
No, GT Gavin's just been beaten.
I know how he feels.
It's because his radiator's damaged on. He's gone off now. That might be a 5-second penalty.
No, I think he's got away with it.
But no, I think it is actually. No, he has got. But
he's just gone deep. His brakes aren't working. He may have cooked his brakes. That could have been what caused a little bit of a nudge earlier. So Caliber crossing the line, seventh place. Gavin in eighth, and GBM Vectra, he's on the end of the long straight now. Looks like that car's been trying to decorate the barriers in a few places.
Aye, it was a strange race there for Vectra, because he was utterly solid in practice all day long, and then it's come to the race, and I came up behind him and said, "Have you got damage?" I said, "No, I just don't understand what's going on." So very odd, but he'll be back.
A fantastic result for him. Managed to get to the end. Hulkenberg, Tempfear from a Racing GP, Andy Russell, Richie Davey unable to get to the end, but I suppose it's time now to invite in the podium drivers for a little bit of a chat. Now, this could be a little bit chaotic. I mean, really, they could have just joined me anyway, because they've all had an invite in. But I will send out fresh invites to them. So it'll be Livebry, GBM Beardy, who may be a little frustrated with that one, and K-Slay first, second and third. So I'll resend invites out to them, and we'll see what they will have to say for themselves.
I'm going to leave you to it and just say thank you again. So good evening everyone from GP. I'll see you all later.
No worries.
No,
Have a good one.
I'll see you soon.
Yep, catch you all later. Have a good one.
I tell you what, it has been a fantastic 2 races around the Nordschleife. As Livebry joins us in the podium, or for the podium interviews, and so does GBM Beardy. I'm sure Casey will join us momentarily as well. Yeah, I mean, the racing this weekend around the Nordschleife on Friday and this evening have been absolutely fantastic. I expected a hell of a lot more carnage than we've had, and the carnage was very limited, unless your name's James Hulkenberg from Friday, who I'm surprised I allowed into the commentary box this evening, because otherwise he may have been needing a bleep machine. But Livebry has joined us. We'll wait a moment for Casey, but I'm going to crack on straight away. Livebry, what a race, what a result, absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to say faultless, because we didn't get to see every moment of every lap that you did, but Beardy, as much pressure as he tried applying, it wasn't enough, was it? It was all you today.
That was great racing, absolutely superb racing. Chasing Beardy for that one, all the pressure on there then. I am sweating now, I can tell you that.
Livebry, sponsored by Just for Men's Shouts. So talk us through it then. I mean, you and Beardy were so close through the whole of the race.
Well, I just got a banker in qualifying basically. That was just get a lap in, make sure you're high up on the qualifying sort of thing. I was hoping Beardy wouldn't beat it, but he did. And I knew he was quick off the start anyway, so I knew I was going to be behind him for a couple of laps. Hopefully he made a mistake, and he did. He made that little mistake where he run wide on one corner, led me through on inside.
Well, it looked like throughout the whole of the race that Beardy had good straight line speed, but your traction out of the corners was much more dominant. Was that where you felt you were stronger on the track, the exit of the corners?
Every time we got a gap, I just didn't push as hard as I needed to. The only time I pushed is when Beardy got within a second, and that's when I knew Beardy struggled behind me, basically in slipstream, so I weren't too fussed with him. It was a cracking race, honestly.
It was. Now, I will admit, there's not much...
I weren't too fussed with these races, you know what I mean? It was great racing, it was just one of them things that were trying to control the race.
Well, for enjoyment factor, sorry, but you and Beardy aren't on the footage much at the start of the race, because what was going on behind you was absolutely phenomenal. It was great racing all the way down the grid, but an absolutely fantastic result there, Livebry. I mean, winning at the Nordschleife, it's almost as prestigious as winning at Monaco, so absolutely fantastic result. I'm going to move on to GBM Beardy, and Beardy, I mean, plaudits go to you just as much as they do to Livebry. An absolutely fantastic race. I was wondering if throughout the course of the first sort of 4 or 5 laps, whether you were just sort of playing it safe, thinking I don't have to attack him yet, but for those last 2 laps you really were pushing it hard to try and get past. So how difficult was it to follow him, to catch him, to try and pass him?
Very difficult, because I mean, well done to Bry, because it was just, he'd be quicker in one sector, I'd be quicker in the next, and then on the third sector, Bry'd just be quicker, and I'd just be quicker at the end as we came into the start-finish straight. And it was nuts.
Well, this isn't an easy track to overtake on, and when I was watching, I was thinking, okay, if you can get close enough heading onto the long straight, you've got a chance. Was that what you was trying to do, but just not quite able to do?
Yeah, I was trying to do it, but I just, in the dirty air, you just lose that front end stability a little bit, so you have to back it out a little, which just costs you a bit of time.
Well, it was a fantastic race. I'm guessing that both yourself and Livebry didn't really have much of an idea of what was going on behind you, but not really need to put your attention on that. For yourself, though, I mean, does it make any difference that Livebry has beaten you in this race? I mean, you had a 15-point gap before it. You'll have a 10-point gap now with 3 races to go, or are you going to be moving over to iRacing with him, and that's your season over?
Not yet.
You want to become a champion?
PC yet.
Alright, fair enough.
My PC arrived midweek.
Well, you see,
So I'm in here for a bit longer.
you know what I would do if I was you, Beardy? I'd be saying to Livebright, there's only 3 more races. Race them. Give me the challenge. I don't want to become a champion by default. Yeah.
I already said that.
What's
to
it
him
going to
before the
take?
race.
What's
He
it
was
going to
like-
cost?
I was like to him at the start, before the end of the practice that we did. I was like, it was like, I'm going to try and do it, and I was like, bring it.
Conspiracy theories begin now. Beardy allows Livebright to win to make him think he can win the championship, to keep him racing for the last 2 races. I'm not sure about that one. Anyway,
he wishes that.
yeah. Anyway, a fantastic race for both Livebright and Beardy. But I've got to say, I'm going to move now on to K-Slay. And K-Slay, in the off of the race, I think you probably were overtaken and overtook the most amount of cars on a track where it's so difficult to overtake. I mean, that opening lap, or the opening 2 laps, must have been absolutely great fun with little hints of disappointment along the way. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, that first lap and a half was mad. Yeah, I think I started 13th, and then I just picked up a few places, and then I dropped a few, and then picked up a few, and then dropped a few, and I somehow ended in 3rd at the end of the first lap. So yeah, it was mad.
Well, absolutely, it was brilliant to watch. It was difficult to keep track of, but it was brilliant to watch. What I'm interested to know, though, is I think it was around about, I can't remember exactly which lap it was, but I did a sort of counter the gap, and it was about 19-20 seconds from the leaders to yourself. Were you catching them up in those last couple of laps?
When I got into 3rd, the gap was about 18 seconds. It ended up about 27, I think.
So no, then.
So no. No.
Oh, well. So, do you think if you'd have been able to qualify higher up the grid, you'd have had more chance of perhaps fighting them a little bit for the victory there?
Maybe. I don't think I would have won, but it would have been nice to get a bit closer.
It definitely would. But having said that, I mean, the opening lap of the race, as I said, it was absolutely mad. But looking back, would you change that? Would you want it any other way?
Oh no, that was brilliant. I'll do that again next week.
well, talking about next week's race will be at the Dubai Autodrome GP circuit. On Friday for the Lotus, it's 43 laps of Monaco. That's going to be absolutely bonkers, absolutely mental, that is. James and Temp Fear, I've got both of you in the commentary box here. Any questions that you two would like to put to the drivers here?
No, I've just got to say it were class out front. I've just seen live Brian Beardy practicing all weekend. It's been cracking, I've got to say. Just a shame that I wasn't there to annoy him a bit, but yeah, no, it were
it was fab. Been at one point, James. I thought you was, would have been right behind us. You, Dave, a couple of rows. Thought you were going to punch at the front.
Yeah, it were a bit manic at the back. You should have seen it, but hopefully DP's caught it on camera. It were pretty manic.
Well, yeah, I just pretty much completely ignored live Brian Beardy on the first 2 laps. You're welcome. The way I saw it was the viewers can either look at these two following each other,
the best 2 laps as well.
Or I can watch these other 13 cars going absolutely mental. I mean, driving 2x2 by 3x1 around the Nordschleife. Yeah, very, very exciting. Okay, on to the drivers. Drivers, do you have any questions, or even Temp Fear, do you have any questions you want to put to these guys?
I was just going to ask Beardy, when you spun it on that last lap, how did you feel?
I was a bit gutted, but I knew my tyres were gone. I put everything into that last lap, and that second to last lap, the tyres were just finished.
Last sector with the one, I made sure that I was quick in that last sector, especially that last corner coming out to the
Yeah.
I made sure I had that pace coming out there every single time.
Here's a question for you then, Beardy. Are you going to be buying Live Bri a celebratory bar of soap for winning this race.
Friggin' hell, he might need to use it tonight, the amount of sweat that we've poured into it tonight.
For anyone that doesn't quite understand it, take your headsets off and in about 20 minutes put your headsets back on. That's the sign of when you put it back on and you go because you can feel how wet and soggy and soft it is. But anyway, okay, over to the drivers then. Do you have any questions, Live Bri, Beardy, K-Slay, that you would like to ask each other?
Why were you so quick, Bri?
To beat you!
I was trying a little bit, mate, but that was just my job. I need to go some tyres and just make sure I have tyres on.
Okay, sounds like that's it from the guys. So we'll bring this to an end then. I will just quickly mention, though, I mean, you've got a few of the guys in here and some of the drivers might be listening in as well. Just to let you know that with the PCF, I did spot there was a bit of a problem with the points. And to be honest, it was a really, really stupid issue. I have managed to rectify that. I went over all of the results, made sure that all the points were right, solved the problem there. And earlier today, I did exactly the same for the PCS, and the points were right. So nothing wrong really there. I could try and explain what the problem was, but nobody really wants to hear it. It'd be boring, and it'd take me a while to explain it.
As long as you fixed it.
I have fixed it. I mean, that's the thing. You spot a problem, as long as you fix it, that's the main thing. So if on the PCF the points did change about a bit, I do apologise about that. But on the PCS the points should be right, and hopefully the problem won't reoccur, because the thing that was causing the problem has been removed from the process of working out the points. I tell you what, I will explain what it was. Like, if you've seen the pictures of the results, where you've got the race result with the points and the standings, basically the points column for the race result, those points are put in there automatically. When I put in the finishing positions, say for example of this race this evening, it automatically puts the points in the box from that picture, essentially, the 25, 20, 16. And it works it out fine. But I spotted on the PCF that what it was doing was, for all of the previous races, once the most recent one had been updated, it edited the points. So let's say, for example, on Friday only 6 cars finished. In the previous 5 races, if 7 car, 8 car, 9 car finished, 7, 8 and 9 were effectively on no points, because from this race 7th, 8th and 9th scored no points. So that was the problem, all sorted out. Hopefully it won't be an issue again. Anyway, next up on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel will be next Friday for the Front Row Racing PCF. That'll be for 43 laps around the Monaco Grand Prix circuit in the Lotus 72D, where we can pretty much guarantee that either Dave the Harp or James Hulkenberg will end up on their roof. I've said that because Dave's joined us in the chat here. I mean, these two are the only two that have ended up on the roof so far this week, so if it's going to happen, it'll happen in Monaco. And then after that, it will be the PCS on Sunday for 25 laps around the Dubai Autodrome. So join us next Friday 9 PM for the PCF, and if you're interested in joining the Project Cars Leagues, find the Front Row Racing Facebook page. I will put a link into the description once it is up on YouTube. So thank you very much to all of the drivers, those who did finish, those who didn't finish, those who joined me in the commentary box, and thank you very much to all of the viewers for watching what I think was one absolutely fantastic race. This has been Front Row Racing PCS. We'll see you all again soon.